as promised, I've appropriately labelled the microphone, so whenever I hit him I can officially say, I'm sorry Mike. Let's protect Mike, shall we? Anyways, football's back after the international break, which was a shit international break, and we've come back to a shit match, unfortunately. Sunderland away, it was a big do, always a big do, but unfortunately it was never going to be a big reward at the end of the day because, let's be honest, Preston North End. So, let's begin, shall we? I'm not going to start off with this or that this time. I'm just going to read down my first and second half breakdowns, and then we'll move on to points to make, as well as statistics and pros and cons, before we then move on to the ratings on SofaScore, because Lancs Live is not live yet, even though it's called Lancs Live. Alright, so the first half, I didn't catch much of the first half due to some stream complications, but from what I saw and read, it looked very calm with a few fouls and some okay efforts both ways, with Whiteman on a fantastic volley, which I did see, but it was somehow cleared off the line quite luckily. I think that was our best opportunity all game for a 1-0. Alan Brown had a tooth knocked out at around 36 minutes, which was pretty funny. There was a big save from Woody at 43. Not a busy first half overall, but coming into the second half, Sunderland with an early chance on the counter, but Alvaro defending maybe a bit too late. A fantastic save from their keeper at 53 minutes, where he tips over the bar. Maybe if we took that a bit faster, it could have been a goal. We chopped their counter quickly in the event we got a yellow card, but it's worth the sacrifice, I think. We must stop their counters before it's too late, because as we saw today, they're very pacey up front, dangerous, and I think we soon picked up on that. 55, somehow Sunderland pushes past us for a chance, and nobody, literally no one on our team was able to stop that. I don't know how. But it was a shot that was missed completely, and I think the commentator spunked his pants at that moment. He got very excited. Ched became Superman at one point, but missed. Cunningham had a bad head clash, but he continued to play, which is alright, I suppose. There was a good chance from Ched that was intercepted. Ched off a Parrott at 66, which was, of course, disastrous. It's Troy Parrott. Ched had a good game, I think. Sunderland pacey team taking us for mugs at the back. Ledson for Woodburn, which is good to see him back, even though he didn't do much. Defenders being easily worked past in the last 20 minutes. Whiteman to Story telling him to go to the keeper, but was taken from him, and he was luckily fouled to stop a corner. That was one of the worst things I saw all game. Very poor instructions to say go back to the keeper when there was plenty of space to go forward. Free kick at 78, good effort, could have been a great opportunity if someone else was at the back post for us, but unlucky. Woody with a great save at 79 and another one at 83. We had a late shot on, which is progress I suppose, and Brown with a late shot as well, which was an easy save, but at least it was a shot. So there's my breakdown in a speedy manner, because I don't want to make these videos too long. So some points to make before we move on is we showed more intent of hitting the ball, which obviously to no effect, but at least we actually hit the ball this time. We had some notable people on the bench that were missing, which I'll talk about in a minute. There was not enough subs made, and some were made too late. Parrott was a stupid substitution. As an impact sub, I thought he could have been better than a starting player, but apparently not. He was lucky to walk away with a point at the end of the day, I think, but we're also unlucky to not have the 3 points. And all season now, we've conceded 4 and scored 3, which is, of course, it's not a fantastic ratio, but it's also not terrible, because it could be a lot higher and a lot lower. But it's a strange ratio to have. So before we go on to the pros and cons, which we'll do last, I'll quickly talk about the stats. So we had 8 shots all game, and they had 16, so we had half of their shots, but however we didn't waste ours, as we had 5 on target to their 2, which is pathetic, to be honest. They had the most possession, but again, it's how you use said possession. The more passes, we don't talk about any of this. Our pass accuracy was awful all game, and I picked up on that. We can't even string a pass together from 5 yards. We both had over 10 fouls as expected, a card each. 8 corners and 4 corners respectively. This places us at 14th on the table, you know, where we usually are. Nothing changed. We've gone from 7th place to fucking 14th. Preston North End, you know, what can I say? It's a curse. Sunderland have now gone up to a respectable 7th. Okay, so before we move on to the pros and cons, like I said, I'm going to quickly go to Lancs Live and look at this reaction from Ryan, as well as something about Hughes, but first we'll talk about Ryan Law. And he said we were unlucky not to come away with 3 points. I'm not frustrated in terms of the performance. We are frustrated with no goals, but we can't let that manifest, which I think is a bit too late for that. I've said that to the group that it cannot continue to manifest, and we have to keep believing in what we're doing. At some point, the penny will drop. You can't keep creating those chances without the ball hitting the back of the net. Speak for yourself. Our fans were fantastic, singing and urging us on. We got into some good areas. I think we had 8 chances today with 5 on target. It was spot on there. It was nearly the perfect away performance. It was far from the perfect away performance because we didn't score a fucking goal. To be fair, we looked alright. We looked comfortable for a majority of the game, but as the minutes were fading away, that's when we started to look very uncomfortable and out of control. And in terms of Andrew Hughes, why he wasn't on the bench, the comment was as simple as he was ill yesterday, so we left him at home. He must have the man flu. It's that time of year. So we'll move on to the soft score ratings before I make my final impressions here. So our lineup today, we had 3 at the back as per usual, Story, Lindsay and Cunningham because Hughes was ill. In the middle we had Brown, Whiteman, Ledson and Fernandez, and 3 up front, so we had a 3-4-3 this time instead of the usual 3-1-3-2, whatever we play. It's very strange, very bizarre way of playing, but we had 3 in the midfield this time, 4 in the midfield, sorry, which looks a lot more comfortable in my opinion. So Brown, Whiteman, Ledson, Fernandez, and up front Brady, Ched and Emile. This was a good lineup, I think, because it actually looks like we could play a forward game, and the midfield did look comfortable the majority of the time. The defence, of course, as usual, is good. So no complaints there. But in terms of our ratings, Woodman a 7.5, I'd agree with that. It wasn't exactly challenged today. Lindsay on a solid 7 as per usual. Story on our highest rated as a 7.9, borderline 8, which I can agree with. Story's always fantastic. He's pacey up and down, makes his chances when he needs to. Always defending really well. So yeah, good stuff all game. Cunningham a 6.4, I can agree with. Didn't exactly do a lot to impact the defending, especially when he got ran past very easily at one point. Brown a 7.1. Considering I gave Brown a lot of shit before the international break, I think he's actually done quite well today. He did well for Ireland when they won 3-2 the other night. Obviously before that other game where he gave away a penalty, that was ridiculous. But I think he might have slapped himself in the face since then because he had a good performance today and the other night, so well done. Whiteman 7.3, I give him a bit of shit the other day as well, but he had an okay performance, but I think he overcommitted to his challenges. Ledson again, a lot of battle from Ledson as per usual, which probably wasn't needed. And Fernandez, good to see him on the starting lineup once more, on a 6.8. His forward play wasn't really good today compared to, let's say, Sheffield, but he still did alright in the defensive areas, which was good. Brady and Reece comfortably on a 7, which again, good ratio to have. And Ched on a 6.9. I don't understand how Ched is below Reece and Brady, considering Ched had the most shots on goal. Maybe it's because, the most attempts. Maybe it's because they weren't all on target or something like that, or they weren't taking more touches. I think SofaScore is calculated mainly on touches and technicality and things like that. I don't think they actually watch the game. They'll just like put a tracker on the ball or something. But I don't agree with that. Because if anything, I would have put Cheddar on a 7.5, Brady on a 7.1 and Reece on a 7. If anything, if we want to be technical like that, because Ched had the most efforts today and he did the most in terms of trying to score a goal. Obviously, Whiteman had that fantastic volley, but that doesn't instantly increase his points. But I don't know. But I think Ched had a really good game today, and it was a shame to see him come off for this Irish motherfucker. But in terms of the bench, we had David, and then we had Diaby on the bench, which is new, I suppose. We've not seen him this season. I think Cunningham should have came off for him at one point, to be honest. We had DJ Potts. I was very surprised that he left Potts out, to be honest, because Potts is having a good season. He'll probably sat on the bench like, what have I done? I couldn't expect DJ to stay on the bench. McCann, Woodburn and Parrott all came on. I think McCann came on far too late. Like, what can you do on the 86th minute in a game like this? He needed to start. Woodburn, he's probably still recovering, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And of course, Troy Parrott, our lowest rated player to stand on the pitch today. Is there any surprise? Now, like I said, these guys, I don't know how it's calculated here, but it's probably down to, like I said, how many touches he did. But from what I was watching from Parrott, every time he did touch the ball, it led to disaster. Because going forward, he didn't exactly do much to try and attack. He didn't do much to maybe score a goal. He made a cross at one point, which was decent. But other than that, every time he got in possession and trying to pass the ball, he never ever was able to do it successfully. You're always trying to flick the ball for some reason, like he's playing FIFA. I'm not being funny, mate. If that's Premier League quality, we don't want it, because to be a quality player, it's not all about style. You don't have to be flashy for the camera. Just play the simple game, play the basic ball and win the game. It's as simple as that. I don't know why half of these players think to be a good footballer, you need to do stuff that's impressive, like when you play FIFA and you're able to score a disgusting scorpion kick. You don't need to do anything ridiculous to win the game or look good. To be a good footballer, you've just got to know what you're doing. It's as simple as that. As long as you can play your role, do your job, that's all you got to do. Don't be stupid, don't be flashy. Don't overcomplicate things, and that's about it. So in terms of our pros and cons today, we had a turnout total of over 41,000 people, which for the Championship, that's a lot. That's probably like standard for Premier League, but Sunderland's got a very big stadium, probably one of the biggest in the league, if not the biggest in the league. And there was about 2.6k of us, which is a very good amount to travel, and I could hear us chanting all game. So fair play to the travelling fans as always. We didn't waste many of our shots this game, even though we didn't take as many as I would have hoped we would have taken. We didn't waste them, so I suppose it's some improvement. The voice is going now, I'm pissed off. And the last pro I've got down is I won £7 because I bet on 0-0. Last time I bet on 0-0 we actually scored, so I thought I'd do it again, but oh well, I'll take the £7. And in terms of our cons, we was overcommitting to our challenges too often. We still can't score, and Parrott had very little influence as an impact sub as well as the starting lineup. So, like I said in that transfer video the other day, in the card there, if you want to watch it, pointed the wrong way, didn't I? This camera's in. I don't know how this camera works. Is it up there? Is it that way? You know what I mean? In the card. I said Parrott, we should just terminate the contract, throw it in the fire, send him back to Twynham. We don't want him. I know it's not good to continuously give a player shit because that will play on their mind. I'm sure the Irish fans did that enough the other night, but I'm not being funny. Right, we pay good money to go and watch these people kick a ball. I can do that for free. We can watch this for free. I'm going to vent my frustrations when a player is doing my fucking nutting, and this player is doing my nutting. Because when he got him in the summer, all the fans being excited because, like, yeah, we got another Premier League striker in. You know, the second Cameron Archer. This time we've got it for a whole season. We're going to, you know, piss the league. But like I said last time, the boat, HMS Piss the League, we've hit an iceberg again. Because we still can't score a goal, and I'm not saying it's just Troy Parrott's fault, it's the team collectively. But you'd expect Parrott to do a bit more. A Premier League striker, you know, you'd expect a bit more from it. Cameron Archer played for Aston Villa and he's younger, and he managed to score more goals than half of our team combined last season, so I don't know, maybe it's the Tottenham curse. He's bringing the Tottenham curse to the North End, so if that's the case, we don't want no more Tottenham players in the future, please and thank you. But hopefully Cameron Archer is available in the winter transfer for a loan for the last bit of the season, like he was last time, because all season he's only had 7 minutes for Aston Villa, something like that, 7 or 14 minutes for Aston Villa, which is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. It's a waste of an absolute talent, and if they won't play him, we will. So if that phone's ringing at the winter, I'm more than sure we're going to pick it up. But in terms of Preston North End, there is nothing different about us. The only difference is I think we were a bit more confident in our ability to move forward, which was good. And that's what we want to see. We want to see us going forward a lot more. But as a whole, nothing much has changed, unfortunately. It is the same old that we came to expect throughout this season. And I'm pretty sure when the EFL highlights are on tonight, they're going to continue to take the piss out of us. Everywhere, every mainstream bit of media, Twitter, the EFL highlights, BBC, there's always someone out there that's taking the piss out of us this season. And it's because of our continuous nil-nils. It's the strangest season I've ever seen in football, and I've only been watching football properly for a year, but that doesn't mean I've not done my research. It's one of the strangest seasons I think I've ever seen, one of the strangest starts to a season I've ever seen. I'd rather us be scoring and lose. Actually, no, I wouldn't. That's stupid. Because if we were scoring but losing, we'd be at the bottom of the table. The goal difference wouldn't account for anything. So I suppose walking away with a point is still good, but we've got to be a bit better here. I'm sorry I can't be comedic, I'm just not in the comedic mood apart from Mike here. And I've not hit him, I've just hit him then actually. No, sorry Mike, I didn't do that on purpose, promise. But I can't be comedic because I'm just not in the comedic mood like I was the other night when I was making that video. The other night I was in the comedic mood because I had nothing to watch that depressed me. I've watched this and I'm depressed because we still can't sort out our fucking shit. And I'm sick of saying it, and I'm pretty sure loads of people are as well in this community, but oh well. So I think that's my time to sign off. I've done ranting about this team for one day, I suppose. West Bromwich Albion at home Wednesday night on Sky Sports, so that more of the world can see us get beat 3-0. But saying that, Swansea beat West Brom 3-2, so you never know, could be a funny one, but the difference between Swansea and Preston is Swansea can score goals. So if I had to give you my preferred lineup for Wednesday night in advance, I'm going to say we keep Ched on and we keep Reece on as an up-front option. Keep this lineup, 3-4-3, keep that. Keep the same three up the front. Keep Brown on, provided he does what he did today. Keep Whiteman on. No. Yes. I don't know, because Ledson were okay. Keep Alvaro on, definitely. But change Ledson or Whiteman for McCann, depending on how they've been looking over the last few days. Keep the back three the same, but put Hughes on for Cunningham if he's recovered from his man flu. Maybe put Potts on for Ledson actually, but saying that, there's no need for Potts and Alvaro on the same pitch if Brady's there. Maybe Woodburn if he's fancying it, I don't fucking know. But keep the back three apart from Cunningham. Keep these lot apart from Whiteman or Ledson, depends, and then keep these three because Parrott needs to be on the bench. And if Sean Maguire's feeling it, then get Sean Maguire on. I think it's time for a redemption arc for Shawnee. But other than that, I have been another arsehole on the internet venting his frustrations about a football team that nobody knows. And I'll see you during the week, I suppose, if I don't push any other garbage out before then, which I probably won't, because I'm lazy. So yeah.